The groove, count up the eyes and the ooh. I need to move, I need to grip with a boo. Let move that front of the stool. We ain't that cool. I fuck the room for these four. Grab with that's ready for war. Pray to the Lord, just like an artist I draw. You in the bronze before. Sound supernatural. I send the shooters at you. And all you hear is pep, 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 like they wearing tattoos. It ain't no sucking down. These soldiers built like linemen. They beat your ass, you hit the stand. You say you feeling out. These suckers so copy. I ain't got no Versace. Just up in Lambo, jumbo, camo, rainbow, polo, Friday. I'm doing moving powder. If you a $1, listen to Goofy while I'm choosing bitches, holla, holla. I'm working 9 to 5. Got lipstick on my collar. I put that on Walmart and having you in
I feel on that, my lord.
What a second.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, come on.
Boy, I'm about to kill some cutthroat shit. Some raw shit, you know, I 144, let's get it.
It's time to take. They come and rule the way, and they can run all that wall. I walk their head down like Casey, be the baddest motherfucker. They going from dust to dust. You be pay our trust. They ain't from what? They glad for us. Not folks, people holler about that stuff. We ain't worried about it. Talking about that girl. They gon' bust so we boys cry. If I got it, click. Hot as a house fire and a party quick. Show you how to prep and how to break. Boss this way, I'm gon' be like Chewbacca. It's my flow shot while I touch it like Bishop and Baka. Bitch, my flow is a special day. The beats are special. These rappers all back like I promised to catch you. When you war, feet walk, go ahead and start the shit up. Next thing I know, I'm gon' bring that fire. I'm gon' spark the shit up. Yeah. Waiting on the darkness to touch. Over your guard that'll break your legs. See if you got the heart to get up. With you, spill blood. Since these crackers took my pistol, I'm gon' turn y'all to issue. Fuck all that beat that I'm weak. It ain't with us cause you're weak. War rough on the floor. Real niggas that are weak. Yeah, these types to the street. Drop your shit, they like shit. Can these niggas compete? No, not with me, I'm too deep. Hey, listen, I ain't from the play, I'm too PK, I'm playing keep. Score shit, nigga.
All right, clap it up. Osai Christ. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Yahweh Shemar, Thumba Shem Yahshua, Priest and Officer 1000. Yediah holding the class down here in Philadelphia for Priest and Officer 1000, Daniela. Now, also Israel, before I start the class, make sure y'all subscribe, to our, YouTube channel, Street Talk, man. We out here, putting our ear to the street. Myself, Officer 1000, Malaki, Officer 1000, Barzal Rakab, Officer 500, Zarwai, and Officer 500 in the car. We're going out here in the streets, bringing the ear to the streets to get the opinion of Israel, to see what's going on out here. With all the rioting, all the looting, everything that's going on, y'all opinion matter. Subscribe to Street Talk. Now, if I could, tonight is the Wednesday night biblical law class. Now, why is these laws, statutes, and commandments important? I'll tell you why. You want to know why these laws, statutes, and commandments is important? Because without these laws, statutes, and commandments, you're going to be out here believing in America's dream. You're going to be out here believing that you're free, white, and 21. And guess what, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man, and woman? That's not us. We cannot keep continuing to put our faith and our trust in the oppressor and these other nations. We have to put our faith and trust and obedience into the Most High in Christ, man. And what comes with that? Observing and doing these laws, statutes, and commandments. And what makes it so heavy is that the Christian church out here will have us believe that we don't have to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Nah, you ask Creflo Dollar tell you Satan wants you to keep the law and Christ don't. But Christ says, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. And the prophets are the priests and generals, captains, and officers in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. But it also starts with this, one time Christ. What we have to understand, man, is that we don't even, why do we even feel the need that we have to integrate with this oppressor? That things are just going to go away. The sad thing is in the cards that our people believe that Joe Biden is going to be on their side. Now, everybody in the church and the mosque, they can rejoice because they got a new white slave daddy that's going to rule over our people. And this is not a charge against our people, but we have to understand this. It's time for us to observe the laws, statutes, and commandments and separate from this beast, from this bastard. You want to know why? Because the Most High God said so. As a matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 7:6.
Okay.
Here's something that we all need to understand and know as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We're better than everybody else. And I know it's hard to believe because of the condition that we in. I understand that we are in a low state right now. We are literally in hell. Hell is not some little place underground with some devil with red pantyhose who's going to be poking you for eternity. No. Hell is that barrio that you go back home to. Hell is the ghetto that we go back to. Hell is the reservation that we go back to. That's what hell is. We're in hell as Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. But even in this lowest hell, even being at the bottom of society, being cast away, the Most High God told us this. He said this to every Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. You got what I asked for, Bob?
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
For thou art an holy people.
It says, for thou art an holy people. Understand this. Holy is not your grandma with that feathered hat. That's not holy. Holy is not your pastor with the white robe. That's not what holy means. Holy means to be separate. But thou art a holy people, meaning thou art a separate people. Just take that alone. That we ought to be a separate people. Why is it that they come in our neighborhood and tell us that, well, you got to vote? And when older brothers and sisters get mad at us in the car, we don't vote. I told a brother, I don't vote. He was like, well, why not, brother? It's your constitutional right. Your ancestors died. I said, no, brothers, my ancestors just died. That's the thing that we have to understand. Our forefathers and mothers did not die for our right to vote. They died because they were Black in the wrong neighborhood. They died because they were a nigga, a spick, and a savage in the eyes of the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
And it's shameful to try to integrate with this oppressor and vote. How about vote for our king? You know him as Jesus Christ, but his real name is Yahweh Shah Mashiach. The Most High is telling us that we are a separate people, a separate nation. Go ahead, Nicole.
Right, yes, sir. You understand, we follow our king, the one that the Lord chose to rule over us and govern us, man. We would be in good condition if we listen to what the Lord said to do. Christ said to do. Christ just said, man, keep these laws, statutes, and commands. And, be brothers and sisters, man. Love your husband, love your wife. You know what I'm saying? Have unity and loyalty to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
When we do those things, when we allow Christ to be our king, we recognize it.
Right.
And we stick to the script. And that's when all the blessings and we see Blacks, Hispanics be empowered. Like when you look out now, we out there voting for people that would never help us, man. And Black people know this, but they don't want to face the facts.
Nah. You know what that fact is? The hardest thing in the world to realize is that Jesus Christ, that you know him as, is a Black man like you and me. That he's a brother. It's the hardest thing to overcome. It's hard to believe because you see the oppressors in power. You see them, in rulership here. And you see us in such a low condition. So it's hard to believe that, we are favored in the sight of the Most High. But we're going to read it again, Deuteronomy 7:6. The Lord is saying, for thou art an holy people, meaning to be separate. Read on. So you can put the shield back up.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Unto the Lord thy God. Meaning that we are a holy nation, a separate nation unto the Lord thy God. Well, guess what? That disqualifies Becky, Karen, Tim McGillicuddy, Phil. It disqualifies all of them. Meaning that the Lord chose us to be separate unto him. Now, we understand just this verse right here, that we're supposed to be separate unto the Lord. You got to ask your pastor that number one question. Why is Becky right here in this church next to me? Why is Wayne Chun in here? Why is the Black Panther in here? The Lord is saying that we are a separate people. Why are all these other nations here? Why is it that we have to look up and want to associate and feel as though that we can't progress as a people, as a nation without their help? I'll never forget this, Nicole. Terry Crews said out of his own mouth, well, you can't beat white supremacy with Black supremacy. He said that nonsense like that. When he don't realize that Black supremacy is how Blacks, Hispanic, Native American Indians are going to get ahead.
That's
and to quote Captain Mashak, I'm a supreme Black supremacist. And guess what? So was our king Yahweh Shah Mashiach. You know him as Jesus Christ. The Lord is saying that we are a separate nation unto himself, unto the Lord thy God. Read on.
Okay. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
To be a special people unto himself. Who is more special than blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians? I'll wait. Who hit that baseball better than our brothers and sisters, man? You know what I mean? That's Puerto Rican, so-called Puerto Rican and Cuban from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. You can forget about it. Who boxed better than Issachar in that ring, man? Our Mexican brothers and our black brothers of the tribe of Judah, man. You can forget about it. These oppressors and these other nations, they don't have nothing on us. There's nothing special about them.
Right.
They are not special. They the other type of special. Slow, especially Moab. We are a special people, man. We are great in sight of the Most High God, man. These other nations cannot compare. The fact that we want to be equal with them, it just shows us, you know, how far we have fallen as a people, because we're above them. The Lord is saying that we are a special people unto himself. He ain't saying that the other nations are special. I thought God loved everybody, Bob. The Lord is saying that thou, meaning Old Quaker English for you, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman, that we are special unto the Lord. Read on.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above some people.
All people.
Above the oppressor.
All people.
Above the Arabs.
All people.
Above the slow Chinese.
All people.
Above all people, man. We are above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now you got to ask your pastor the $1 million question. You got to ask him this. How come you didn't tell me this? How come it's always John 3:16, molest my wife and my kids and pass the collection plate around and hallelujah? You got to say hallelujah, Ibad, or it just ain't Christian. It's just unethical. You got to say hallelujah after your kids get molested and you give all your money to that church. You got to do that. But how come your pastor ain't go over this? How come? I'll tell you why. Because your pastor is a liar.
Right.
All of them are liars. Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, Louis Farrakhan. They are charlatans, liars, and deceivers, man. And we have to stop following them. We have to. We invest all our time into these false leaders, and what do we get out of it? What do we get out of it? You can forget about it. All of those leaders did what? Endorsed every president that came around. Farrakhan said that Obama was the savior, an African who's not an Israelite, who's not a black man, was the savior. You can forget about Creflo and all these other pastors talking about, well, you got to go vote for Joe Biden. You got to go vote for Biden. He's going to get out Trump. Don't get me wrong. Trump is the devil that the Bible speaks of. But so is Joe Biden. And you know who I blame the most? I blame the oppressor, and I blame your pastor, man. Give me Jeremiah 23:1, Bubba Bashaw. And the car, could you give me Deuteronomy 4:27? We're going to go to Jeremiah first. Here's the thing we have to understand. Something is coming to these pastors. And I'm about to show you what's coming to your favorite pastor. What's coming to T.D. Jakes? What's coming to Creflo Dollar? What's coming to, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Geno Jennings with the bald head. You can forget about it. This is what's coming to these pastors. You got what I asked right back?
Oh,
read it.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Woe be unto the pastors.
Woe be unto the pastors, meaning destruction be unto the pastors. Why is destruction coming to the pastors? Because the pastors have lied to us for far too long. They tell us the same old sad song that Christ came to die for everybody, God loves everybody, that Jesus was a white man. You can forget about it. It says, woe be unto the pastors, meaning destruction be unto the pastors. Why is destruction coming to your pastor? Read on.
That destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastor.
That destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastor. We are the sheep of the Most High God's pastor, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. And we have been scattered because we have poor shepherds. And those shepherds that's in the Christian church, guess what? They are not qualified to lead us. They don't even know the Bible. They only care about what they white daddy tells them. to do. That's all they care about. When we have to come back to the Most High in Christ. And here's the thing on which makes your pastor so evil. He don't even understand that Christianity itself and Islam is referenced. It talks about those two false religions, the idol worship that we got into because we were so infatuated with the other nations. When we shouldn't be infatuated with these other nations. We should look at these other nations and the things that they do and be like, man, we cannot do that as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We can't. We can't do those things. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you in the scriptures what happened to us because we decided to follow after the philosophies of these other nations and to transgress the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Read what you got in the car.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations. We got scattered among the nations because we decided to follow the philosophy of the oppressor, of the stinking Africans, of the East Indians. You can forget about it. Now, the reason why Cardi B has to apologize for appropriating, East Indian Hindu culture is because we transgressed the law, statutes, and commandments. You so infatuated with their culture that you forsake the covenant, you forsake the law, statutes, and commandments. You forget about the same power, the same God that brought us out of Egypt, that made Egypt a desolate dust bowl, that killed the firstborn of everything that was Egyptian in the land of Egypt. You forget about that, but you want to go worship the God of Shiva. You want to go worship Caesar Borgia. You want to worship Allah, a figment of the imagination of them camel breath Arabs. That's what you want to do. We cannot do those things. We were scattered because we decided to do those things, man. We can't do that. How long are we going to continue to follow the practices of Christianity and Islam? My body, this shit kills me. Like in Morocco, Yahweh Shah for the COVID-19, because the coronavirus has shut down all of these major religions. Like COVID-19 made Allah take a sick day, Nakar. Allah took a sick day. They shut Mecca down. They shut it down, man. And you can forget about it. The Most High canceled. You know we're in the cancel culture in the car. They talk about, well, we're gonna cancel this, cancel that. The Most High canceled Easter. The Most High canceled 4th of July. The Most High canceled Halloween. And guess what? The Lord is going to cancel your Thanksgiving as well.
Right.
And if you are a Black, Hispanic, or First Nation man and woman, and you're going to celebrate Thanksgiving, we're going to go into that too. The slaughter and mass genocide and homicide of our First Nation brothers and sisters of the tribe of Gad and Ra'aban, you are a traitor and a disgrace.
Right.
Man. We were scattered because we decided to follow the practices of these heathens, man, and we were punished for it. That's why we all across the earth now. You can find a brother anywhere or a sister anywhere across the earth because we decided to disobey the Lord in the law, statutes, and commandments. Read on the car.
And ye shall be left few in number among the heathen.
You shall be left few in number amongst the heathen. You know what kills me? Our people, I went over this yesterday, our people have an infatuation with Africans, Hamites. And it ain't nothing special about them stinking Africans, man. They got a smell that is biblical. Rhinoceros residue, giraffe water, you can forget about it. Roll around in feces. That's just not our culture. We were left few in number amongst the heathen, meaning this. Every time, our people love to say, well, everybody in Ghana is an Israelite. Everybody in Nigeria, they're Igbo, they're Israelites. No, we were left few in number amongst the heathen. And the few in number amongst the heathen right now, guess what's happening to us over there in Africa, in China, and everywhere else across the earth? We are being oppressed. We don't have about the so-called Jew who's not a Jew, who's the devil that the Bible speaks of, a pedophile and homosexual. We were discontinued from our culture. And that's why we're following the practices of these heathens, man. That's why we serve the gods of these other nations. Just what we're getting ready to go into. Read on the car.
Mm-hmm. Whither the Lord shall lead you.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 28, and there ye shall serve gods.
Oh, man. Hold up. And there ye shall serve what?
God.
There ye shall serve gods. Now we disobeyed, we messed up. Now we got to serve other gods. Now, good night. Now you want to be a Buddhist. Now you want to worship Shiva. Now you can forget about the two big ones. What we getting ready to go into? I ain't gonna spoil it. Go ahead, Nicole. Read on.
God. The work of men's hands.
The works of men's hands, meaning this. If I could, Nicole, our people also have an infatuation with Egypt. When the so-called gods of Egypt are just the works of men's hands, meaning this. A man created that. Some stinking Hamite that decided, because you know the Egyptians would rub crocodile dung on the women's, private areas because they thought it made them fertile. Y'all could believe y'all Egyptians if you want to. I don't know a sister that's going to get down with that type of nonsense. They believe in silly practices like that. They're the works of men's hands, meaning this. They saw, they decided to draw and carve out these different gods and then decided to bow down to it. What the hell do you look like building a statue or drawing an image and then bowing your face down to it? That practice right there astounds me because that's something that our people get into. Somebody created almost a Ru, what's another one? Ra. You know what I mean? Ma'at. You can forget, what's the Geb? Oh, good night. Yeah. Somebody created those things and decided to worship them. Go ahead, Nicole.
The biggest religion in Philadelphia, Islam.
Yeah.
Somebody went over those taking Arabs, Punjabis, you know what I mean? They sat up there and built a rock in Mecca and tried to say Abraham, you know what I mean? Abraham and his sons built the rock in Mecca.
Right. Show me that in the scriptures.
Good night.
Show me where Adam and Abraham and Seth erected a stone and bowed down to it. Show me that. Because that type of nonsense right there is just the figment of the imagination of the Arabs. And then you have silly Negroes that believe, oh man, I can't get down with Christianity. That's a white man's religion. The white man enslaved us. I can't get down with that. I'm like, okay, brother. But you get down with the Arabs, yeah, that's the real religion. I had a brother tell me, he was like, yeah, Salam Alaikum, Yedaya. Salam Alaikum. Islam more, peace, God. You going backwards. And I'm like, nigga, you about to go circle a stone. You about to go out in broad daylight and slam your face to a carpet and a rock in broad daylight. Good, go ahead, Nicole.
Sir, so you're telling me that the brother knew that you was a priest of the Lord and then wanted to disrespect you.
I'll give you an example, Nicole. Before I came into the truth, I was what you call a wicked 5%er. You know what I mean? It was a faction of that deviated from the Nation of Islam, right? You know, Elijah Muhammad and that white man, Fard Muhammad, created something called the 120 lessons. But they got the 120 lessons from the scripture. That's why when you look into the 120 lessons, it references Jeremiah, it references Isaiah, it references Ezekiel. And when I was just a wicked Negro in the world, I would ask, how come they always go back to the scriptures? And they would get mad at me. And then that's when I started to watch Black Watch. That's when I started watching Cross the Line Radio. And I was like, oh shit, that shit makes sense. These brothers got the truth. And now that they know I'm a priest and prophet of the Most High God, they tell me I'm going backwards. No, nigga, y'all going backwards. Y'all going backwards on... Y'all going backwards in life. You are focusing on and honing in on the God of the Arabs. Like that's better than the God of the white man. Not realizing that, yeah, the white man did put us in slavery, but those ships were built by the Arabs. Those Africans that you love so much because they melanated like us. They're the ones that rounded us up. The transatlantic slave trade was a well-orchestrated plot that these other nations did to gather the Lord's chosen people, us Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, and cut us off from being a nation. Hell, Psalms 83 describes that. The tabernacles of Edom, of Ishmael, of Moab, the Hagarenes, they came together to do this to us. So you're not better because you slamming your face down to an Arab daddy instead of a white daddy. You can forget about it. You guys something you want to bring out in the car? Well, say it.
Well,
okay. Bring out is such a homosexual term. Hey, I don't like saying that.
Okay, so when you was in a 5%, right? When you was in, you know what I mean? When you was a 5%, like, what was the comments that they made when you said, well, why do we keep pulling the Bible?
They looked at Ezekiel, Isaiah, and even Christ and Jeremiah as poor righteous teachers. You know what I mean? The 5% of those that knew, you know what I mean, the truth, and the 10% of the bloodsuckers of the poor, what they say, those, you know what I mean, that knew the truth, that oppressed, and they could link that to the oppressor. And the 85 was those that, you know, just did not know, that was blind, deaf, and dumb. It sounded good. That's why we ever talk to one of them brothers, they can talk their ass off the car. You know what I mean? Professional, you know what I mean, BS's. They will give you a lot. You'll be like, damn, man, that brother kicking a lot of knowledge. Yeah, he made knowledge born. You know what I mean? He made knowledge, wisdom, understanding going, you know what I mean? You'll spin around and talk you around in circles, and he'll beat you down with stupidity. But if you have a sense of, you know what I mean, of knowledge, any trooper in the Israelite school or UPK can crush any 5%er, any member of the Fruit or Nation of Islam, and any pastor will crush any one of them. That's how bad this trooper program is. And you can forget about the generals, captains, and the officers. They always say, well, where'd you go to school? What degree did you get? Well, guess what, y'all? I went to UCLA. I went to the University of the Corner at Lincoln Avenue. And then after I left there, I came into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana. Since 1969, we've been, you know, bringing out this truth. Now, as I was saying, where was I? Deuteronomy 4:28. Here's the thing. The works of men's hands, right? The car brought out a good point too about the Muslims, you know, here in Philadelphia. You're gonna bow down to the Arab guy, and then you can look down on somebody that's bowing down to the white guy when you shouldn't be bowing down to these idols, period. Because they're the works of men's hands, meaning somebody created this. They came up with this in their head and decided, yo, let's make this. It's no different than when we came out of Egypt. We went out of Egypt, 20 minutes? You know, Moses left us for like 20 minutes. It seemed like, I know it was longer than 20 minutes, but damn, it seemed like he was gone for a few minutes. And next thing you know, we built our own golden calf, our own God. That's something that we do. That's something that people do. But here's the thing. We cannot do that as Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians because we have a power. We have a God. His name is Yahweh. Right. We cannot do that. Now, because we disobeyed the Most High, now we about to serve God's the works of men's hands. Read on the car.
God. Wood and stone.
Wood and stone. What's the wood? Christianity, that cross. What's the stone? That Kaaba stone. Come on now. The wood and the stone that we worship in this, and you can tell that it's Islam and Christianity because look how many of our people flock to it. All of our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters that flock to the Catholic and Christian church, all of our simple brothers and sisters that flock to Islam, somewhere it is a poor sister in North Philadelphia that's taking her shahada for a brother that's going to beat her. Somewhere. It's going to happen. And that's the sad thing. Go ahead, Nicole.
So, like, sir, what you're saying is heavy because, you know what I mean? I socialize, you know, and a lot of sisters, man, you know what I mean? They become, you know what I mean? They tell me, definitely in Philly, you know what I mean? It was just so infested with Islam. They be like, hey, you know, I took my shahada for the dude I used to, you know what I mean? I took my shahada for Bull, and Bull dogged me out. You know what I'm saying? He treat me like crap. He beat on me. You know what I mean? Sold drugs, took my car, never came back. You know what I mean? Put a jewelry on it. You know what I mean? Like straight up. You know, sisters, majority of the sisters that you see in Philadelphia, they took their shahada for some dude. Or just to, because it was in, you know what I mean? Just to be in, and they only a Muslim for 30 days.
Good.
In the summertime.
Good. Now you a Muslim for the summertime. You go back to being a Christian on the weekends.
That's
good. Nice. But either way you slice it, though, Islam and Christianity have destroyed our people. Give me Jeremiah 2:14. Because here's the thing with our people we need to understand. It's nonsense. Islam, Christianity, it's a joke. And the Lord showed that with the COVID. with the coronavirus and how he shut both down, both of them. You got to go in the mosque and wear a mask. You can forget about it. You can't even go to church. You got to sit there and watch it online. Meanwhile, our doors remained open and are going to remain open because we know who sent the coronavirus. You know, here's a sad thing. It's sisters out here, you know what I mean, that's so afraid of the coronavirus. You're going to wear a mask. You're so worried. You know what I mean? Now, you're supposed to do what the physicians say. Me personally, the Lord sent it, and I know he did. But then at the same time, they'll say things, they'll say things like, well, it's in God's hands. But make sure you got your mask. Make sure you do this. Make sure you have that. I'm like, listen, the Lord wants you to get it. You're going to get it. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. And goes to show you where your faith is, because Christ says something about having a faith, having your faith, as small as a mustard seed. If you ain't got that level of faith, you know what I mean? How do you expect to overcome the coronavirus? How do you expect to make it? You not, because your concept of what Christ taught and what the prophets taught and what the Most High gave us in these laws, statutes, and commandments, you don't follow them. You don't follow them because you'd rather continue to be a slave to Christianity and to Islam and being a slave to the oppressor. Give me what you got, Ibad. Jeremiah 2:14.
Blessed the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
Is Israel a servant?
Is Israel a servant? Black man, Hispanic man, and woman, are you a servant? Are you a servant? The Lord is asking, are you a servant? How long are you going to continue to pack in those churches and be in them churches and the mosques and be told the same old lie? The same lie that they've been telling us since the beginning, man. They've been telling us the same thing that, God loves everybody, that Christ came to die for everyone, that we are all going to be together, oh, kumbaya. We cannot continue to do that. That makes us a slave. Hell, the spirit of Christianity is one of our brothers and sisters dying. A brother being pulled out of his car and having a knee put on his neck for 8 minutes. And then you going to church and then going outside to march hand in hand with the same devils that murdered our brother and say, no justice, no peace. Black lives matter, vote. Let me ask you a question. If our life don't matter, what makes you think your vote won't matter? What makes you think we matter, period, to these devils, man? I'll never forget poor Kiki Palmer, that silly sister, going out there begging those oppressors that was in the National Guard uniform out there, those devils out there doing their American duties, begging them to march with our people. That's how sad we have become. That's how sad we've become. That's why the Lord is saying, is Israel a servant? Read on.
Oh, God. Is he a homeborn slave?
Is he a homeborn slave? Are we homeborn slaves? Are we? It seemed like it. It seemed like it. It's the same old routine every time. George Floyd, Ramon Lopez, both of them murdered by the oppressor, being dragged out their vehicles and the oppressor putting a knee on both of them, their necks. A black brother and a Mexican brother, Judah and Issachar. And you going out there, no justice, no peace. Still going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Still going to celebrate your birthday. Still going to celebrate these wicked holidays and participate in the heathen's culture. We cannot continue that behavior. You cannot believe in your heart that you can continue to celebrate these wicked holidays and go out for so-called Black Friday, not realizing what was the first commodity sold on Black Friday. Guess what, black man, Hispanic man, and woman? It was us. That's why they called it Black Friday. They used to have a fire sale after they celebrated the mass genocide of our First Nation brothers and sisters. They'd be like, woo, yeehaw. Now let's have a fire sale for some niggas. And look at us now. Is Israel a servant? Read it again, I got.
Oh, God. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Is he a homeborn slave in the car? I get some more crowns and coke. Bump shop. The water. Are you a servant? Are you a homeborn slave? Listen, that has to stop with our people, man. We gotta cut that out. As a matter of fact, give me Jeremiah 10 in verse 1. Here's the thing. What we need to do. The Lord told us what we had to do. But the thing is, we are infatuated with the heathens' customs. We are. You infatuated with Thanksgiving. Why the hell, first off, if I could ask, like, Bob, why the hell do you have to get together when the oppressor tell you to get together, man?
Right.
The oppressor decided to get together and celebrate, you know what I mean, not celebrating the mass genocide of our First Nation brothers and sisters. We're not doing that here in the UPK. We love our First Nation brothers and sisters of the tribe of Gad and Reuben, man. For what? We love our brothers and sisters. And here's the thing. Why do you have to get together when the oppressor tell you to get together? What kind of nonsense is that? You mean to tell me you got to go and talk to that family member that you can't stand, by the way? I know you can't stand him and her. You can't. You got to get together with them because the oppressor told you to, because Phil told you to do it. Tim, Bob, Sarah, they told you that you got to go and spend time with your family, you know what I mean, on so-called Thanksgiving. You can get together with your family any other day, but you're so infatuated with that culture, you can't help yourself. Go ahead, Nicole.
Another thing, Black, Hispanic, Native Americans, that's trying to fight against that spirit of Thanksgiving, just don't make nothing on that day that has to do with Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Shoot, order some food out. You know what I mean? Go order a pizza and some wings. You know what I mean? Whatever, shrimp bowling. You know what I mean? Because a lot of our people, they try to fight against the spirit, sir. Mm-hmm. But they like, I'm not thinking about it that way. But what are you gonna make, miss, sir? You're gonna make turkey, ham, stuffing, candy yams, mac and cheese, green beans. You still celebrate it.
It's crazy. Like, cranberry sauce and turkey ain't that good to me anyway. Like, I never thought it was that good anyway. Like, I know I might cause an uproar in Israel. I know a lot of y'all like that. Listen, me personally, turkey is okay. I eat a turkey sandwich every now and then. I eat a turkey sandwich like maybe once every 4 months. like y'all take it overboard when it comes to that. I understand, you know what I mean, the custom of doing it for so many years. With me, I was never really enamored with the food of Thanksgiving anyway. The car brought out something earlier today. You know what I mean? He was talking to us about it. Shit, go get tacos on Thanksgiving. Get carne asada. Right, you know what I mean? Get a steak burrito. Get some mole wings. Shout out our brothers of the tribe of Issachar. We can throw it down. And here's the thing. Why you want to eat that? First off, here's the thing too, man. Like the symbolism behind it. Wow. They're celebrating the mass murder and genocide of our people. And we're celebrating that. So how does that make us look as a nation, as a people, man? We cannot continue to do that. Why? Because the Lord said to do it. You got what I asked for? The car, hold Amos 5:21. Read that, bud.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Mm-hmm. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you. Mm-hmm. O house of Israel.
The house of Israel, the Lord is getting ready to tell you something. Read on.
Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, mm-hmm. Learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. Right. Meaning this, don't do what these filthy heathens do. They want to get together and celebrate their Thanksgiving. Let them. We can't do that. How about us get together for the Feast of Hanukkah, for Purim, for the Lord's Passover? How about let's get together on the Sabbath, man? The Feast of First Fruits. What about the Lord's holidays? You want to get together for Thanksgiving? You want to celebrate your birthday? You want to celebrate Christmas? No. Sit down. Sit down somewhere, brother. Sit down. Sit down somewhere. We're not supposed to be doing what these filthy heathens do, man. Let them have their Thanksgiving. Let them have their Black Friday. Let them have their Christmas. You want to know how you cripple this beast? Stop celebrating their holidays.
Right.
Stop. Don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Don't buy turkey. Don't go out there and buy all that food. Don't go out there and buy them Christmas gifts. Most of us is broke anyway. I know I am. I'm broke, baby. You can't go out there and buy these Christmas gifts anyway. You know damn well you can't afford it. That's how you cripple this beast. How about have our own money circulate through our own communities?
Right.
Guess what? The Chinese do it. Show me a Chinese family that's going to get together and celebrate Thanksgiving. Show me an Arab family that's going to do that. Only the slaves of the oppressor do that. That's why we read earlier in Jeremiah, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? We cannot continue to be slaves to this oppressor, to this beast, man. It says, learn not the way of the heathen, meaning don't do what these stinking heathens do. Don't celebrate their holidays. Stop serving them and their gods. They don't give a damn about us, man.
Right.
They don't. And it's sad to see. It's sad to see. We've been discontinued from our culture, from our laws, statutes, and commandments, that we are following everything that the heathens do because we believe that to be right. And that's not right. We got to do what the Lord said was right, man. Nakar, you got what I asked for?
God. Read the book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 21. I despise your feast days.
What's the key in this scripture? The Lord said, I hate. I thought God loved everybody. I thought he loved everything. No. Lord said, I hate. I despise your. The key word, your. I despise your feast days. And what are your feast days? Thanksgiving, your birthday, Christmas, New Year's. You can forget about it. The Lord is saying, I despise your feast days. Read on.
And I will not smell your solemn assemblies.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Meaning that that turkey, that mac and cheese, them greens that you getting ready to make for Thanksgiving, the Lord is not going to be smelling none of that.
Right.
He ain't going to be smelling none of that. He ain't trying to smell it at all. And guess what? We got to separate from that culture. That's what we must do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Separate from the customs of these heathens, man. We cannot continue to do it. Our biggest issue is we put too much stock into the oppressor and their ways. We do. How do you know we do? You trust the white man. You trust him. And the scripture says, as a matter of fact, give me Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10.
Okay.
We're going to go into that right now. Not realizing one crucial thing when it comes to the oppressor. You trust the oppressor with everything. You trust the oppressor when it comes to educating our babies. You know what I mean? To telling us when we can get together with our families. We have to stop with that, man. We're about to go into what the Lord said when it comes to the oppressor. Read what you got.
Okay. This is what Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Never trust thine enemy.
Never trust who?
Thine enemy.
Never trust thine enemy, man. You know who our enemy is? Our enemy is the oppressor, the Caucasian man and woman, the devil that the Bible speaks of. That is our enemy. The problem is you trust the oppressor. You trust the oppressor like he's family and can't stand our actual family members, man, our fellow brothers and sisters who are Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. That's the thing when it comes to our people. You know, we don't love each other no more. We don't. But you love the oppressor. You put all your trust and your faith into the devil, man, who don't give a damn about us.
Right.
Read it again from the top.
Okay. Never trust thine enemy.
Mm-hmm.
For like as iron rusteth.
You know, iron is going to eventually rust. Like as iron rusteth. Read on.
So is his wickedness.
So is the wickedness of this devil. The wickedness of this devil, man, is like iron and it's going to rust. The oppressor has a vicious countenance where he can look at you and have every intention of destroying you. And that's every oppressor. As a matter of fact, drop down to verse 16.
Okay.
Drop down to Ecclesiasticus 12:16. Read that.
Verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Listen, the oppressor is going to speak sweetly to you. Oh, you can forget about it. You sisters that slave and them slaves, You can forget about it. The oppressor already in your ear. Brothers, you hear it sometimes too. They talking to you like, well, you're doing a great job, Bill. Tyrone, you're doing a great job. Tyree, you know what I mean? Jameer, you're really going to advance here. And at the whole time, he cannot stand us. He's like, Jose, you're doing such a marvelous job out here with the grass. But meanwhile, he wish he could lynch us right now. We're not supposed to trust these devils, man. He gonna speak sweetly with his lips. He gonna do that. As a matter of fact, that's Joe Biden now.
Right.
That is Joe Biden, as a matter of fact. Joe Biden right now is telling us everything that we want to hear. Meanwhile, he is that same devil who's had his name on every crime bill since 1972. He came into politics in 1970. But since 1972, every minor crime bill and the big one that led up to 1993, his name has been on it, man. That's why when I brought out yesterday, even Satan himself has transformed into an angel of light. Joe Biden is that angel of light, and he's speaking sweet nothing into your ear. He's saying all the right things. Read on.
But in his heart, he imagined how to throw thee into a pit.
Read that again.
But in his heart, he imagined how to throw thee into a pit.
In his heart, meaning in his mind, he's thinking about how he gonna throw us into a ditch. Are you aware that, that 93 crime bill with Joe Biden, that locked up more blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians, man? And your pastor was behind him the entire time. Your imam was behind him, encouraging him. You know how many of our people went to sleep at home in the car? Our fathers and uncles and aunts went to sleep in their own bed and woke up in jail. That's the oppressor. Looking at you like, man, I wish I could throw you in a ditch. That's Kamala Harris. That's Joe Biden. And your pastor endorses them, man. That's Christianity and Islam in a nutshell. Endorsing these heathens to govern and be over us. But this all started because we decided to disobey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And this is why the Israelite School of UPK is so essential, man. We're so essential because we go against the grain. Nobody wants to go against the grain. Nobody does. Nobody's out here telling the oppressor that he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Nobody is out here charging pastors and imams for the condition of our people. Commander General Yohana said something that was so heavy in Philadelphia a couple years ago on a forum, you know what I mean, where it was a guy from the Nation of Islam there was pastors, and he said, you know what I mean, every black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian is my responsibility. And I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to let my officers stop. And we're not going to stop. Because black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman, you are our responsibility.
Right.
Our responsibility. Your pastor is not going to take the responsibility. He's too busy getting high, having sex on the altar, being a sexual deviant, being a pedophile. You can forget about your imam. You can forget about the crazy Negro on the corner that has his head up the behind of some African and Hamites. You could forget about that, but not the UPK. We take ownership of the Lord's chosen people, man. We are the priests and prophets of the Most High God. And that's why we are going to continue to do the work that our King told us to go out here and say, go out and teach. You know what I mean? That the kingdom of heaven is at hand, because it is. We don't have much time left. We are walking on the pages of Scripture right now.
Right.
We see the things unfolding before our eyes, and you still want to smoke weed? You still want to be a sexual deviant and buy whores? You still want to be a whore yourself, sister, and have an OnlyFans? You can forget about it. We have to put these things of this evil, wicked world behind us, man, that the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, promotes. We have to separate from all that. That's why the Lord told us never to trust our enemy. To learn not the way of the heathen, man. We cannot do that as the Lord's chosen people. Want to know why? As a matter of fact, give me Isaiah 30 and 1, iPod. Give me Isaiah 30 and 1. And then the car, give me Romans 10 and 1. Here's the thing. I'm going to go to Isaiah first. Here's the thing when it comes to us. We love to take on the customs of these other nations. Like they have some type of deep knowledge, you know what I mean, that's going to help us, progress. I remember in the world in the car, and you can look this up, and on my, when my father rise again, I remember my father giving me a lecture about how, Elijah Muhammad and Farrakhan has the plan for Black and Hispanic men and women. And we were listening to Elijah Muhammad. Farrakhan said that Elijah Muhammad is on the moon with the book that is going to save Black people. And at the time, I was smoking weed in the world, and I said, you know what? I got to stop smoking this stuff. I thought this man said that Elijah Muhammad was on the moon with a book that's going to save Black people. And he said that nonsense. We got to cut that out. Go ahead, Nicole.
Like, if I'm mistaken, they used to talk about the mothership and all that. You know what I mean? Talking about the spaceships.
I do a good Farrakhan impersonation. I was with my father and my uncles for this. He said, I found something. Brothers and sisters, I found something. I found something in the works of L. Ron Hubbard. It's Dianetics. Scientology. Farrakhan endorsed Scientology and Ron L. Hubbard. And that's when I knew, being a 5%er, that's when I knew being in Islam was not for me, I knew. It was over for me after that. He said that nonsense. He was like, Dianetics, Nicole. And brothers defend him. I'll never forget, what's that brother named? Ben X? Ben X came out there and said, he was crying because Captain Tazariak came at Farrakhan saying, how do you know that you talking about we Israelites, but you still following the way, of a white man, Farrar Muhammad, and following after the Arab religion and God, Allah.
Right.
That next made a video crying, talking about, but Tazariak, we do teach that Black Hispanics are the children of Israel. Then nigga, why are you still following Farrakhan in Islam then?
Right.
Why are you still doing that?
Right.
Goes to show you how simple you are. How simple our people are, man. And guess what? And I understand this, looking at Nick Cannon, looking at everybody that's trying to speak out and say, just because you put in your bio that we're the Israelites, Black, Hispanics, Native American, Indians, don't mean that you are authorized to teach. And that's a problem that a lot of us have. You're so ready to pick up this Bible and go out here and teach, but you have to be taught again. As a matter of fact, Baba Kashar, give me Hebrews. I believe it's Hebrews. Give me Hebrews 5 and 12, Baba Kashar, real quick. Because that's something that our people struggle with. Everybody thinks they can pick up the Bible and just start teaching. No, you cannot. You cannot pick up this Bible and say, oh man, I'm a prophet. I can teach now. That's like me going up to NASA and be like, yeah, you know what I mean? I read a couple space books and I feel as though I can be an astronaut. That's like you reading every, medical book and then assuming, oh, I can just be a doctor now. No, you have to be taught the right way. And the right way, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, to be a priest and prophet of the Most High is to come into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. I pray you understand. Right. You cannot pick up this Bible and just assume all of a sudden you a priest and prophet. That ain't how it works. The scriptures say to uphold these traditions, man, to stand fast. Anybody got what I asked for?
No.
Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
God. Read the book of Hebrews.
Back to where you are, God.
Read the book of Hebrews, chapter 5 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again.
You have to be taught again. That's meaning right. You have this spirit where you want to teach. I understand. You find out you're an Israelite, you put it in your bio. Now you think, oh, I can go over. The white man's the devil. We got to do this, we got to do that. Now you feel as though you can teach. No, you have to be taught again. You can read this Bible front and back because your pastor did it, and he still believes that John 3:16 is talking about everybody. He still believes in the lies that the oppressor told him. You have to be taught again. Read on.
God. All right. Ye have need that one teach you again. would be first principles
Mm-hmm.
of the oracles of God.
Principles and the oracles of God, and they can only be learned here. You want to have more understanding of the oracles of God and the principles, learning these laws, statutes, and commandments, and how to be an Israelite, how to conduct yourself to serve the Most High in Christ. You have to do it in the Israelite school, the universal practical knowledge, man.
That's
You
right.
have to do it here, or else you can just be a vagabond. You're no different than a Christian, than a Muslim. Read on the car.
God. And are become such as have need of milk.
And such as need as milk. Why does it say such as need as milk? You wouldn't give a steak to a baby, dummy.
That's right.
And guess what? Once you find out you're an Israelite, you go back to infancy. I wouldn't give you steak. I'm not gonna walk up to you and say, "Hey, brother, break down the book of Ezekiel to me." What was the Lord talking about? When, you know what I mean, when Ezekiel had the vision and the Lord picked him up and showed him what Israel was doing. I don't expect you to break that down to me, dummy. You have to be taught again. You have to be weaned of milk. The same way you would give milk to a baby, scriptures is the same way. You got to learn how to digest it. I can't give you something, you know what I mean, heavy right away. I can't give you that steak. You have to drink milk right now. And that's what makes this Trooper program foolproof. You want to come in and learn to be a priest and prophet of the Most High? Guess what? You got to come in here and put on your all black boot, shirt, headband, and scarf. I pray you understand.
All right.
What was you holding that by?
Isaiah chapter 30, verse
Give
1.
me Isaiah 30 and 1, both for sure. To what?
Come. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the rebellious children.
Just destruction be unto the rebellious children. Woe me in destruction. Who are the rebellious children? We the rebellious children. Because you want to go out there and be a Christian. You want to go out there and be a Muslim. You want to vote. You want to say no justice, no peace. You want to continue in work iniquity. You want to continue to be a wicked sinner, man, and do the evil of this world. We cannot do that. This is what makes the oppressor such the devil, because he promotes every evil, wicked thing on the earth to us. They tell us that homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle. They tell us that it's all right for our children to go up to us and request that they change genders. I wish my son would, but listen, that's beside the point. We cannot have that, man. Lord is saying, woe to the rebellious children. Why is destruction coming to us, man? Read what you got in the car. Read it.
Saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
That take counsel, but not of me. We're not taking counsel of the Lord. You taking counsel of your own self. You taking counsel of Buddha, of Shiva, of Caesar Borgia. You taking counsel of Allah. Come on now. We cannot continue to take counsel of these other nations and the gods, which are the figments of their evil imaginations. We cannot continue to do that, brother. Read on.
And that covered with a cover, but not of my spirit.
But not of my spirit, meaning the Lord ain't in it. The Lord is not in that, man. Read on.
That they may add sin to sin.
That they may add sin to sin. We cannot continue to do that, man. And that's the sad thing. Our people go to church and really believe that they really believe they're going to serve the Most High. Here's the thing. I'll never deny the fact that our people want to learn more about the Most High, love the Most High. But the problem is there's a way to do it. The car, you got what I asked for in Romans?
God.
Romans 10 and 1.
God, it's the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart desires and prayer to the Lord of Israel is that they might be saved. Verse 2.
That they might be saved, that we might be saved. Paul ain't talking to everybody. That's another thing when it comes to our people. You love to take the writings of Paul and assume that it's for every nation. As I went over yesterday, listen, man. Paul ain't come to save Becky, Bill, Bob, Fred, Tim. He ain't come to save them, man. Paul came to the Israelites, man. Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. Read on the car.
Verse 2, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God.
I bear them record that they have a zeal of God. I'm not going to deny that our people have a zeal of God. We want to serve the Most High. We do. We want to serve the Most High, but here's the problem. You in the Christian church, you in the Muslim mosque, You want to go and be a Egyptologist. You want to be a Buddhist. We can't do those things. Read on.
God. But not according to knowledge.
But not according to what?
Knowledge.
We have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Why is it saying we have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge? Bob, give me Hosea 4:6.
Okay.
We have a zeal of God, a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge, meaning we don't know how to serve the Most High. We don't know how to do it. Why? We're about to go into why. We have that zeal, but it's not according to knowledge. Read what you got, Ibad.
Okay. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
My people. Hosea is saying my people. Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man, and woman. My people suffer for a lack of knowledge. Read them.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge. We reject knowledge every time we go in that Christian church, every time we go in that Muslim mosque, every time we decide to follow some crazy Negro that believe in African spirituality. Sister, just because you put a head wrap on and burn sage and pray to Ma'at does not mean you serving the Lord. You can forget about it. Brother, take that off, man. Take that cross off. Throw those stones away. Stop bowing down to the gods of these other nations. Where it says, for my people suffer for a lack of knowledge. Read on.
Okay. I will also reject thee.
I also will reject thee. We got rejected, man, because we decided to follow after these other nations, man, after their gods. And we suffer for that. And the Lord turned from us. And Barakatah Yahweh Yahushua for our King, Yahweh Mashiach. The Most High gave us another chance, and our King came and died so we could come back to this truth. Why are you going to squander this truth and continue to smoke weed, to continue to be a whore, to continue to buy whores? We cannot do these things, man. We can't do those. I pray you understand. We have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man.
Right.
We have to do what the Lord said to do. We cannot continue to be evil, wicked sinners, man.
Right.
Nakar, get me 1 Maccabees 1:11, and Ibad, get me Baruch, the 6th chapter, and start at verse 2. Let's go to 1 Maccabees first. Here's the thing, too. I blame your pastor. I hold your pastor most accountable besides the oppressor. The oppressor may be held accountable. But your pastor has to be held accountable, too, because they decided to go on and join us to these evil oppressors, to these evil devils, to these other nations. And this is not something new. You want to know why Creflo Dollar has the $1 million jet? You want to know why TD Snakes, TD Jakes, why TD Jakes has the mansions and everything? Why Geno Jennings with the bald head has every church in North Philadelphia? That's because they decided to sell themselves out to the oppressor. And that's not something new. That ain't new. Our people did this back during the time of the Greeks and the Romans, and we're going to go into a little history on that. Our people are always turning to the oppressor or another nation, man, instead of turning to the Most High God of Israel, man. You got what I asked for?
God. This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days when there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Oh, man. Wait a minute. Hold up. It says in those days went out wicked men of Israel, meaning there was wicked niggas, wicked Hispanic brothers and sisters, wicked First Nation men and women that went out to make a covenant, to make an agreement with the oppressor, with these other nations. Read on.
That are round about us. Mm-hmm. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Here's the thing, too, man. You think things is going to get better when you go and join on to these heathens. These heathens don't give a damn about us. They don't give a damn about us. You think, and which is so sad, and I gotta go into it. Brother, you think you going out there and getting Becky is gonna make your condition in America better? Sister, you going out there and getting Bill and Bob and Fred, you think that's gonna make your condition better? Nah, we cannot do that. You cannot go out there and marry outside of your race. You cannot go out there and assume that you will improve your station by joining yourself to the evil, wicked kingdom of the oppressor and their philosophies and their ways. We cannot do that, man. You think things become easier when you decide to cave in and compromise and join on to the heathen like these wicked men did, man. We cannot do that. We cannot do it. Like that sister and her sons, man, that refused to eat that pork, man, that swine, that decided that death was better, man. But I can tell you how why Yahweh was shy for that. But I can tell you how why Yahweh was shy, man, for that, for our sister and those brothers, man, that did that. For those that did not conform to the way of these heathens, man, that decided that death was more honorable. A lot of our brothers and sisters in Philadelphia are Muslim, not by choice. Are you aware that when Muhammad had his little crusades, that he was circumnavigating the earth and spreading Islam with the sword? Because that's common history in the car. Islam was spread with the sword. And you know why it was spread with the sword? You either had to bow down and kiss that rock or die. And everybody that's bowing down, kissing that rock, guess what? That's kissing that rock now, you decided to kiss that rock back then. But those Israelites that died, that said, I'm not kissing that rock, I'm going to serve the Most High Yahweh. You can find those mighty men and women in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. Right. We decided that death was more honorable, man, to dishonor ourselves by, sullying the name of the Most High by bowing down to the figment of the imagination, of some filthy camel breath Arab, man. You will not find us doing that. That's why we cut from those ways, man. And you cannot continue to do what these wicked Negroes did. They decided that, man, life is too hard. It's too hard right now. Let's join on to the heathen. Let's join on to the oppressor. Bob is gonna make everything better. Tim is gonna make my day go by better. We cannot do that, man. Read on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
Who gave them license to do the ordinance of the heathen? Now they're doing what the heathens do. What did the heathens do during this time? What was the Romans famous for? Go ahead, Car.
Being homosexuals.
Being homosexuals. They damn sure they still famous for that. Being homosexual. But it said, is this device pleased them well? Let's read on. We got to get a little bit more.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
They built a place of exercise in Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen. You know what that is? That's the gladiatorial arena. And you wonder why you play football and basketball now. The gladiatorial arena was something that the Romans established for entertainment, where they would have slaves, blacks and Hispanics and First Nation men and women, fight each other for the pleasure of entertaining these heathens. And we do the same thing when we play football and basketball and baseball for these heathens. When we had our own, if we had our own leagues like we used to do, we could do it for ourselves and bring the money in our communities. Why do you think they forced us to play in the NFL? Why the NFL has to be the only commodity on the market, the NBA and the MLB? We can't have our own leagues, because when we did, it took away from the oppressor. And we were gaining too much wealth. That's why the ABA had to go. That's why the Negro League had to go. That's why the AFL had to go. We were making too much money. They couldn't have that. And those wicked Negroes sold us out. You think Jackie Robinson going into the... Go ahead, girl.
So like something like that. Jackie Robinson, It's like, man, don't allow a gift to destroy your heart. Who is behind it?
like Ice Cube. Ice
Mhm.
Cube was like, man, I'm about to start my own league.
Right.
What's the brother name?
Big three.
What's the brother name? The media, you know, they tried to destroy him. You know, of course, some of his antics was bizarre. You know what I mean? I feel like it wasn't reasonable, but LeVar Ball, you know, I feel like he was black empowered. Even with a white wife, he still was like, listen, I want to black owned. We gonna own our own league. And when he tried to do it, everybody was trying to play him out and all that. And, you know, his sons didn't really, you know, stand 10 toes with their father. You know what I mean? But still, you know, when we had our own leagues, you know what I mean? Definitely the white man was nervous because all the talent was with us.
Exactly.
Hitting home runs, running faster than the car.
That scared the oppressor too, man. And this is why I remember when Kyrie Irving said that we got to get our own league. I agree with him, and everybody laughed at Kyrie. Right. I watched some of y'all favorite people. I like Shannon Sharp. I watched Shannon Sharp. And he was like, no, Kyrie, we can't do that. We can't start our own league. I'm like, that's slave talk. When I heard Shay say that, all I heard was, we can't separate from Massa. We can't start our own league. What you think we're going to be doing in the kingdom? Listen, I pray if we make it into the kingdom, Lord willing, man, that if we want to have our own league, everything going to be black on anyway. We're going to have our own league. I'm going to start my own league too. I'm going to have the oppressors fighting each other. Forget it. I'm going to have the oppressors fighting each other for chicken gizzards and chicken beaks and feet. They're going to be rumbling each other for that, for our entertainment. Because we do this for their entertainment right now. And that's what makes our people, this is what makes it so sad, that we feel the need to separate, man, to go on and do the ordinances of these heathens. That's why when you read in 1 Maccabees, 1 and 14, that place of exercise, that's the Colosseum. And that was for their entertainment, to entertain these heathens. Read verse 15.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
And joined themselves to the heathen. Our people joined ourselves to these heathens and were sold to do mischief, man. Decided to join these heathens and celebrate their holidays, celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate Christmas, do the evil, wicked practices that these heathens have, man. We got to separate from that. We cannot continue down that path. Go ahead, because
I can see why the white man took this out the Bible.
He had to.
And he don't teach, I was talking to my mother, her and her husband had a conversation about, pastors and, their credibility that they went to the college. I got a cousin, that graduated from a black college,
right.
In theology. And he still disagreed with me on the Bible, just about the prophets being black and, also, who was Christ sent for, the Lord having favoritism to Israel. They know these things, the white man know, but he don't want it to be known.
Here's the what you brought out was so heavy in the car. All right, Bob, give me 2 Maccabees 6 and 6.
Okay.
This is what I said what I said earlier, I meant it. You got people that go to school, that go to theologian school and still don't understand that Christ was a black man. It says it in Revelations 1:1. Drop down to verse 13 to 15. That Christ had hair like wool and his skin was like brass, as if it burned in a furnace. Jeremiah 14 and verse 2 says that the Jews are black, man, unto the ground. And when you break that ground up, guess what? You're going to find different shades and derivatives of brown, of black. Come on now. And you can't even claim to be a Jew now. Look what happened to Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon came out and said, we're the real Jews. And look how they exercised and castrated our brother publicly. Right. They publicly castrated our brother. Look what they did to Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson, man. This is why, Nakar, you're in the right place, man, for real. All of us are. Right here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Because just because you go to theologian school it does not mean you are qualified to teach. Like I said, before the Israelite School of UPK, I went to UCLA, the University of the corner of Lincoln Avenue. And guess what? Right now, I'm a priest and prophet of the Most High God under command of General Yohana. Them pastors don't know what the hell they talking about. I got a cousin too that went to theologian school that's a minister. And he's still teaching that God loves everybody and that nonsense. And I guarantee you, if you ask him, is the law done away with? He'll tell you, yeah. But he went to school for 8 years to not know that, to not even pick the Bible up and understand it. Go ahead, Carl.
Like you said, it's crazy because it's like a weird story with me when it comes to the church, because I have an aunt and an uncle, you know what I mean, that's heavy into the church. And you know, like growing up, you know what I mean, my cousin that went to school for theology, his parents was heavy Christians. And I used to be offended, you know what I mean? I'm like, dang, like y'all don't even treat me, you know what I mean? Like I don't even feel like y'all don't even treat me like family. Y'all be treating them, y'all be, when we used to celebrate Thanksgiving, I used to celebrate Thanksgiving, I'm like, dang, like y'all only come here for like 2 seconds and then go jet over there. And till later, you know, I always keep that in mind, you know what I mean? But I seen my uncle, he used to be a pastor, he stopped being a pastor a couple of years ago. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll be teaching the Bible and all that now. It was like, well, you be, and he knew it. He said, oh, you be with those brothers that be downtown screaming at people, right? I was like, I mean, yeah, you know, we do the Lord. You know what I mean?
I overheard my mother on the phone a couple weeks ago saying, yeah, you know, my son, he with them crazy niggas on the corner. I was like, the rockets like y'all way y'all was shy for that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's going to that church with you on Sunday. Go ahead, Nicole.
Oh no, you know, it was just, you know, it just took me back into that space, like, dang,
right?
You know, like y'all don't know the Bible. You know what I mean? If you did, you would have way more respect coming out your mouth.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You won't disrespect the man of the Lord because you'll know what's before you. You will have respect. You know what I mean? But taking the knowledge of the white man, you know what I mean? Taking it to heart, you know what I mean? Believing that, you know, you ain't special people into the Lord and that everybody needs to be saved. And, you know what I mean? We can go ahead and give our souls over to the white man because that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Next week, everybody is going to be selling their soul, you understand, for a plate of macaroni and cheese and candy yams. You know what I mean? On fake Israelites, you understand, they're going to be out there selling their soul, going ahead, going over family houses, eating, saying the same thing. It's all right. I'm just spending time with family. The hell with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't go pick up that plate. You can stop by and say, hey, what's going on, everybody, because everybody is there. And you don't sit up there and dwell on that.
Man, listen, man, I haven't been to a family gathering on Thanksgiving in years. Even before I came into the truth, I cut that nonsense out. Even before I came into the truth, I used to ask my mother, I said, Mom, what if I get a First Nation rib? A sister from the tribe of Gad and Reuben, you know, that so-called Native American sister. She's like, well, you just, yeah, she stood there cut like, well, damn. Well, we don't really look at it. The same thing all mothers say. For some reason, all black, you know, Hispanic, you know, mothers, aunties, and grandmas say, well, I cook on that day. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. This is the day when we get together for family. But you mean to tell me because your white daddy tell you got to get together on that day, you got to? Come on, man. You're no different than them brothers that joined themselves to the heathen in the first Maccabees, man. We cannot continue to do those things. And this is what makes it so heavy. Who was holding something? You all right, Bob? Read what you got.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 6. Neither you keep Sabbath days.
Man, listen, it's not lawful to keep the Sabbath days. They tell us in the car that we got a slave on Saturday. That we got a slave on the Sabbath day. But you know what is lawful? According to the oppressor, upholding and keeping his Thanksgiving. You got to keep that Thanksgiving night, Bob. He'll give you off on Thanksgiving. He'll tell you, I'll pay you for this day. Go and celebrate my holiday. Go and be the homeborn slave that I know that you are. We got to cut that nonsense out, man.
Right.
It says, neither was it lawful. Read on.
Or ancient feasts.
Or ancient feasts. They don't want us to celebrate the Feast of Hanukkah, Purim, the Sabbath, Passover, which we are going to have, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Tabernacles. They don't want us to do that, but they want us to keep Thanksgiving. They want us to keep Christmas. They want us to keep, New Year's. Those evil holidays they want us to do. But we can't keep ancient feast days. We cannot keep the Sabbath. Read on.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Read it again.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
You can't even profess yourself to be a Jew at all. Having your family members challenge you saying, well, the Jews aren't black. They can't be black. Christ was olive color. They were so-called Middle Eastern. Christ was not an Arab, and the Jews were not Arabs, man.
Right.
Jews are blacks. The ones that you call niggas, spicks, and savages, we're the Jews, we're the Israelites of antiquity. And we have something that we must do. We have to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. This is what we have to do. We get so caught up in idolatry that man, we forget that we have to do what the Lord said to do. You're so enamored with the gods of Egypt, so enamored with the gods of the Chinese and the Japanese and the East Indians, you know what I mean? We forget about what the Lord said. But Nakar, give me what you got in Baruch, the 6th chapter and the 2nd verse. Yeah, give me Baruch 6 and 2. Here's the thing, man. The Lord told us when it came to these idols, when it came to these false gods, not to worry about them. Because here's the thing. When we disobeyed the Lord, you know what I mean, and went into Babylon the first time, the Lord told us, man. Go ahead, Nicole.
Somebody said, you said Baruch.
Yeah, Baruch 6 and 2.
They only go up to 5.
So what? Go ahead, Bob.
In the Apocrypha, it does have the 6th chapter, but it has number 1, then goes to number 3, sir.
Oh, number 3?
It skips 2.
Right. Here you go. Here what you get. It's on my phone. Yeah, the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Even they alter in our apocryphas. Yeah, give me Baruch 6 and 2. Good night.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 6, and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the sins which ye have committed, therefore, before God, ye shall be led away captives into Babylon by
Nebuchadnezzar. Mm-hmm.
Czar king of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the Babylonians.
Now, we committed sins against the Most High. We decided to follow the philosophy of these different nations. So the Lord told us that now you're going to go into Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar. Read on.
So when ye become a Babylon, ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season, namely 7 generations. And after that, I will bring you away peacefully from hence. From thence. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold.
Now, it's saying in Babylon we will see gods of silver and of gold. The Lord is telling us the gods that we are going to see in Babylon of silver and in gold. And every time I think about that, I think about, you know what I mean, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, where, Nebuchadnezzar told them that they had to bow down to the golden statue that Nebuchadnezzar erected. And Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego said, the hell with that. They understood that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego did not bow down to the golden statue, the idol of Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. They did not bow themselves. They did not compromise this truth and bow down to that false idol, man. They didn't do that. And that's how we have to be. What those brothers did was so hardcore, to paraphrase it a little bit more. They even said, if the Lord does not come and deliver us from this fiery furnace, we still not going to bow down to that golden statue, Nebuchadnezzar. What Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego did was one west to the death of them. Right. And that's why when Nebuchadnezzar saw, when they were thrown into the furnace that burned up his own men, that burned up Nebuchadnezzar's own men, Nebuchadnezzar stood there and was so enamored. He said, damn, I put 3 men in the furnace. It's 4. The angel of the Lord came and protected Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, because they did not compromise and bow down to the silly false gods of Babylon, man. And that's the type of energy that we have to have as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We have to stop bowing down to these false gods to conform to the evil of this wicked society, America, and these other nations, man. We got to cut that out. We got to be as hardcore as Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, and as Daniel. We have to be as one west as they were, because they were one west to the death of them. They did not conform, you know what I mean, to the evil idolatry of Nebuchadnezzar and of Babylon, man. And we have to come out of her. We have to come out of America and come out of these idols, come out of that Christian church, and come out of that Muslim mosque. Read on from where you are in the car.
Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nation to fear.
Man, listen, these so-called gods of silver and gold cause the nations to fear, man. Because Nebuchadnezzar, at that time, Babylon was the most powerful force. At one point, Egypt had the greatest force. Then it was Babylon. And then after them, I believe it was Assyria. But read on.
Come, beware therefore that ye in no wise be like the strangers, neither be ye afraid of them.
Be not afraid of the strangers. Be not afraid of these gods of silver and gold. Why? Read on.
Come, neither be ye afraid of them when ye see the multitude before them and behind them, worshiping them. Verse 6, but say ye in your hearts, O Lord, we must worship thee. For my angel is with you.
For my angel is with you. The Lord is saying you don't have to worship these false gods because my angel is with thee. Meaning that the Most High is with us, man. Meaning that we don't have to conform and serve these idols. That's it on that. Yeah, that's it on that. Here's the thing, man. When it comes to our people, we too busy looking at these idols, man, and we think that we have to conform and sit down and worship them, and we don't. And as a matter of fact, if you read verse 8, it says, for their tongue is as polished by the workmen, and as they are guided laid over silver, yet they are false and cannot speak. Meaning this, that these idols can't even talk. They can't speak. They are the works of the workmen, the works of men's hands, as we read earlier in Deuteronomy. That's the problem, man, that we have to get over. We have to stop looking at these other nations' ways and philosophies and gods and think that's how we have to progress ourselves. We cannot do that. And when we do that, we do the Lord such a disservice. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go into a little history too tonight. And the car hold Romans 8:31, but give me 2 Kings 1:1. Give me 2 Kings 1:1. We're going to go into a little history tonight as well. Here's the thing. Going and inquiring is not something that's new. But the thing is, we cannot do these things. We cannot go and inquire of these other nations and their gods. We have to inquire of the Most High in Christ. We have to do what the Lord said to do. And that's keep all the law, statutes, and commandments, man. I pray you understand. We're going to go into an instance where a brother didn't do that. Read what you got.
Me, sir?
Oh, no, I buy. And no, we're gonna go to yours after I buy. Romans 8:31.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 1 and verse 1. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. Verse 2. And Ahijah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria and was sick.
Now, King Uzziah was sick, man. He got sick, and he like, hey, man, I'm going through. I ain't saying he had that COVID, but he was sick. And he was dying. Let's read on. I ain't gonna go into too much to it.
And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go inquire of Baal-zebub.
Whoa, what did he say, Ibad?
Go inquire of Baal-zebub.
He said, go and inquire of Baal-zebub. Wait a minute. Azariah, who's king at the time, he said, man, I'm sick, I'm dying, man. Go inquire of Baal-zebub. Meaning you're going to go inquire of a god of a different nation? You're going to go inquire of Baal? Read on.
The God of Ekron.
The God of Ekron, man. The God of these heathens. Read on.
Whether I shall recover of this disease.
You going to the God of Ekron, the God of these heathens, man, to see if you're going to recover of the disease. Why not go to the, you know what, I ain't going to give it away. Let's read on, Ibad.
Verse 3. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah, the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel?
Read that again.
Is it not because there is not a God in Israel?
He's saying, is it not because they're not a God in Israel? The Lord told Elijah, get up, go meet those messengers of Azariah and ask them, is it not because there's not a God in Israel? What the hell are you doing inquiring of Baal-zebub and these heathens, man? What the hell do you look like going to inquire of Baal, man, being a king of Israel, being a black man, an Hispanic man, a First Nation man, inquiring of a different God, man, not realizing that those gods are the figment of these heathens' imagination. That's why he said, ask them, like, is it not because there's not a God in Israel that you would, go ahead, everybody, read on.
Okay. That ye go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the God of Ekron. Verse 4. Now, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up.
Now he's saying, now you're not going to get better. The Lord said, now you're not going to come down from that bed, meaning because Azariah the king went to go inquire of this heathen nation's God, Baal-zebub, Baal. Now you're not going to come back from this disease. Now you're just going to die. Because now you're offending the Most High. The same Most High Yahweh who brought us up out of Egypt, that destroyed Babylon, man, that destroyed the Roman Empire. Now you inquiring of these heathens? No, you're not going to come back from this sickness out. You got to go for that. Read on.
But shall surely die.
But shall surely die. Now that you decided to go inquire of Baal-zebub, now you about to die for that. And we got to cut that nonsense out, man. Got to stop inquiring of these other gods. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget, man, you know, doing a radio show with Commander Jim Johanna, having the honor and the privilege to read the stories. I'll never forget that sister that was crying to, what's that devil's name? You know, de Blasio, the mayor of New York, crying to him, that poor sister, crying to him, saying, you know, that her husband died of the COVID and he sat there dead in her home. And she's crying and charging de Blasio. And Commander General Johanna said, you should be crying and you should have called Captain Cesario. We could have got that brother out of there, man. Right. It just goes to show you that you put your faith, you put your morals, you put our way into these heathens, man. When you need to put it back into the Most High in Christ. Right. Stop relying on these heathens to help us. They don't give a damn about us, man. Right. The Christian church, the Muslim mosque in America don't give a damn about the black man, Hispanic man, and the First Nation man and woman. These heathens don't care. And this is why it's important for us to turn back and do what the Lord said to do. We have to do what the Most High said to do, man. And what did the Most High say to do? Give me Deuteronomy 8:6.
Okay.
Real quick, bubble show.
Time check. 8:35.
For what? Deuteronomy 8:6, bubble show.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 6. Therefore, thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God.
It says, therefore, thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God. We have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. It's not a game.
Right.
We have to keep the law, because if we don't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, we're going to continue to be messed up out here. And we are messed up out here. How do you know we messed up out here? The same way as Ahiah was inquiring of Baal-Zebub, you going to go inquire of Broadway Joe Biden to think he's going to save our people, and looking at Kamala Harris, that chocolate-covered devil, because she's not a black woman. Kamala Harris is a white woman. She is an Edomite. Her great-grandfather on her father's side, because Numbers 1 and 18 clearly explains that you are who your father is. Kamala Harris is a devil. Her great-grandfather on her father's side was a white plantation owner. He owned a sugar plantation in Jamaica, where her father was enslaving our Benjamite, our West Indian brothers and sisters. And then her mom is an East Indian. Where is the blackness in that? She ain't no black woman. Got to cut that out. Kamala locked up more black and Hispanic Native Indian men and women outside of Joe Biden. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, sir, Manager and Holland, y'all brought out something heavy on Saturday. How I never knew how great the hatred for our brothers in the Caribbeans from the East Indian. Like, I didn't understand how deep it was, and for Kamala Harris to be a white woman, and her family also is East Indian, just shows more that she's not the one that we should be looking to save us. Because, if I could, expound a little bit on what Commander J. Howard was bringing up. He was explaining how much it's so bad in the Caribbean that the doctors that's East Indian, they will literally tell you, patients and the doctors prefer East Indians. They don't even want no Israelite doctors up in there.
I'll tell you what's even more heavy. Commander Indiana did a story. He did a story on Black Watch every Monday, by the way, 9 p.m., which was heavy, about how black and Hispanic babies are better off with black and Hispanic doctors, because if they're not, they'll die. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
He is the goddamn devil. Our babies are better off with us, because if they not, those oppressors, them East Indians, them other nations, they will not care for our children. They will kill our babies, man. Right. And they kill us out here in the streets, and then they kill our babies. Murder us. This is what they do. And this is why we have to separate from them. This is why we have to do this. Read it again from the top, my God. Deuteronomy 86.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 8, verse 6. Mm-hmm. Therefore, thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God.
We have to keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, man. We have to keep these commandments. You want to know why we got to keep these commandments? Because it's what we had. It was given to us. It wasn't given to everybody. Right. We too busy worrying about what Becky, Phil, Habibi, and the Black Panther are doing. We can't do that. Right. We have to worry about what the Lord told us to do, and that's to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Read on.
To walk in his ways.
To walk in his ways, meaning to walk in his ways, meaning to do them. To walk in the Most High's ways is to keep his commandments. Meaning, sister, don't be a whore. Stop showing your body to the world, man. That should be for your husband. Stop doing that, man. Brother, stop being a whoremonger. Brother, stop buying whores, man. Right. Stop buying whores. You can't do that. The scriptures say there should be no whore. Deuteronomy 23:17 says there should be no whores of the daughters of Israel and not a sodomite of the sons of Israel, man. We cannot do that. And the only way to overcome those demons is to get in class, because those are demons that you're not going to beat by yourself. You got to come to class to beat those demons. I pray you understand. That's why the Lord told us to walk in his commandments. meaning to do and keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. But that's the hardest thing in the world for our people to do. You too busy talking about, well, I love God, meaning that you love God and you feel as though, you know what I mean, that just don't apply to you. But here's the thing about that. Nakar, could you give me 1 John, the 2nd chapter and verse 3? We'll go into some milk real quick. We're going to go into some good old milk on why. Yeah, 1 John chapter 2 and start at verse 3. Because here's the thing. What we have to understand as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and it's something that I know we don't understand. You think, you know what I mean, that you can get by not keeping his commandments. Because the church tell you we don't have to do what the Lord said to do. They tell you just got to pay your 20%. If the Lord say pay 10%, you out there paying for your pastor's white robe and his Rolls Royce. Goddamn. You paying for all that, and you let the pastor molest your wife and your kids. But this is what the Lord said to do. Because they'll tell you that we don't have to do what the Lord said to do, but we have to do. We have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I asked for?
This is the book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments.
Mm-hmm. That we keep his commandments. We have to keep the commandments of the Most High God, man. We have to keep these commandments. Because, you know, the church tell you that we don't have to. Creflo Dollar said out of his own mouth, Satan wants you to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. But Christ doesn't want you to do it. Christ gave you grace. But we know Romans 6:1 says otherwise. You know what I mean? But great, you know, should we forsake the law of grace as we say? Nah. Paul said, God forbid. We still got to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Christ said it himself in Matthew 5:17, the law has not been done away with, nor the priests and the prophets, man. You talking about, you know what I mean, we ain't got to keep the law. That's nonsense. Go ahead, Nicole.
All right, sir, you know, he just working on their demons. That's all he's doing because he know that, one, if he gets them to keep being in sin, you know what I mean, his pocket is going to get fat because his churches is going to keep being filled up. And those, I think he probably do the online play. You know what I mean? People paying on there, Cash App and all that. You know, and his money keep going up. If
right.
He can keep the Israelites sinning. You know, he knows the truth.
You know what's crazy though? I was watching this show called Greenleaf, right, on Netflix. I couldn't even watch it no more in the car. But I couldn't get past, you know, Keith David talking about, he's playing a mega pastor owner, right? He's a mega pastor. And he said, well, you know, we have our tithe members that pay, you know, that sit up here in the VIP section. They pay $20,000 in tithes a month. I said, God damn, 20 grand? But then I thought about it. That's how much they paying in these mega churches. You got people that's kicking out $20, $30, $40, $50,000. Big shout out to Priest and Officer 1000 Daniela, who'll be back next Wednesday, who usually teaches this class and covering for him. He brought out about how it was a church that he was doing work in years ago. And he said, you know, the pastor was talking about how he wanted these speakers, but the speakers was $8,000 a speaker, and he wanted 8 of them. And he said, yo, how we gonna get these speakers? You ain't got the money. And the pastor looked them in their face, Akim, and said, I'm going to get my congregation to raise the money up. Come back to me next Sunday, I'll have the check. And lo and behold, that nigga had the check for each speaker. I said, yo, the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
That's why the Lord said, woe be unto these pastors. Because that's insane. And if you look at, we all from Philly. You know, me and the car, we from Southwest. Southwest is rough. North Philly is just as rough. You don't have nothing in our communities, man. But the fact that they prey on our money and you know, they get our money out of us, that he can afford thousands of dollars worth of speakers. I remember when 12 Shield, big shout out to 12 Shield General Hyman, he asked, you know, sarcastically, how much it cost, you know what I mean, for those windows that go into those churches. And I looked it up and he said, you die, I wish you didn't end it there. The cheapest church window with Caesar Bougere on it costs $5,000 for one window. The most expensive one that I saw ranged between $12,000 and $15,000. And that's probably a little bit more too. It's being nice. Between $5,000 for the cheapest and $15,000 for the most expensive, that's one window. It just goes to show you, man, what kind of pimp and two-bit hustler your oppressor is and your pastor. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, the government be giving them fund money. So they get the church and they give the church they get $100,000 just for, you know what I mean, being a church. You know what I mean? So
Good night.
they get that money off the top, you know what I mean, and to get the church put together, and then they take with theirs. So if you saying that a window with Caesar Borgia is like 12, okay.
Listen, the cheapest one is $5,000. That's the cheap one. That's one window. That's one window for $5,000. And then if you even think about the most expensive one, let's say the most expensive one is $12,000. That's one window. If you do the math, you're kicking out, I don't even want to do the math right now. It's just going to make me upset. I'm going to get angry. But oppression making a wise man mad, man. We got to understand, man, what we're dealing with on how the oppressor is really the devil that the Bible speaks of, and they prey on us. This is why destruction is coming to your pastor, because your pastor is looking at Joe Biden. He's looking at his white daddy to save him and to bail him out. And you think they have the best interest of our people. You got Creflo Dollar, Geno Jennings, and Louis Farrakhan living in these mansions. Meanwhile, we in the hood. We're in the ghetto and the barrio. We going back to North and Southwest Philly and Little West Philly. We going back to that. We going back to these conditions. Meanwhile, they live in lavishly. That's why I brought out in First Maccabees, you know what I mean, the 11th chapter, the 15th, because you got wicked Negroes that sold themselves out for a better condition under this beast, under this oppressor.
Right.
How about keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man? That's what the Lord commanded us to do. Right. But that's the hardest thing in the world for our people to do. And it just goes to show you how much of a devil the oppressor is, man, because we cannot continue to live like them. I'm going to tell you this again, and I say this all the time. Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman, we are not free, white, and 21. No matter how bad you fight and claw and argue and grow in Esau station, you are still going to be a nigger, spick, or a savage. But the Lord, the Most High Yahweh, said that we are a special people, that we to be severed from them, man. The Lord cares about us. And that's what really matters. The Lord requires of us obedience, for us to obey the law, statutes, and commandments. This is why the Lord said in Ezekiel, man, to prophesy to the valley of dead man's bones, that these bones may live. And this is what we do as priests and prophets of the Israelite School of UPK. We do this. But your pastor don't. That's why in 1 John 2 and 3, it says we do know him if we keep his commandments, man. Well, we about to read about those who don't. Pick it up right by 1 John 2 and 4. Oh, never mind. Go ahead, Nicole. You got it.
Okay, verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar.
Your pastor is a what?
A liar.
Louis Farrakhan is a what?
A liar.
Geno Jennings, Creflo Dollar, TD Snakes is a what?
A liar.
They're liars. You can forget about Joe Osteen. How many hurricanes passed through in Texas and he shut the doors every time? They're liars, man. They're liars because they don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And Joe Osteen is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And we got to separate from them, man. It's just he that said, I know him and keep him not his commandments. You got somebody, poor auntie and grandma and mama right now talking about how they know God. They got Jesus on speed dial and Christ is their husband, talking about they know him and they know our king and they know the Most High Yahweh, but they keep not the commandments. You're a liar.
Right.
You're a liar, man, and we cannot continue to be that. We cannot continue to walk down that evil, wicked path, man. We got to do what the Lord said to do. I behold, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Read on the card.
And the truth is not in him.
And the truth is not in him. To paraphrase Romans 1 and 25, where it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator? The oppressor did that. The oppressor is what made Christianity cool. He did it. The oppressor made it easy to be a Christian, to be a Muslim. Because you worshiping the creature more than the creator. You love the oppressor. You hate your brother and your sister. You hate your brother and your sister, but you love the devil that the Bible speaks of, which is the oppressor, man. We cannot continue to do that. We cannot. That has to cease. That has to cease. We got to keep the law. We got to have faith in our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. How long are we going to continue to celebrate Thanksgiving, to continue to celebrate Christmas? I cannot leave this truth, man. I can't. I can't. Ain't nothing in the world for me. I cannot celebrate another birthday. I cannot celebrate Thanksgiving. I cannot celebrate Christmas. And you shouldn't be able to neither. It should sicken us to our soul, to our mind, man, that our people do these things. That the oppressor has such a hold. We cannot continue with that, man. We got to do what the Lord said to do. Read what you got out by Nakar, whole Revelations 14 and verse 12.
Come. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. What is the conclusion of this whole matter? Read on.
Fear God.
Fear God, because the fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge. You think you got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding? You think you got a little knowledge? Guess what? The Lord said, for the foolishness of this world, man. What's the Lord said, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. You think you got knowledge. You think you have understanding, but you don't. The true knowledge of the Most High in Christ, man. The Lord said the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. And what does this say about Ecclesiastes 12 and 13?
Come. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God.
Fear God, man. That's the conclusion. Fear the Most High. Yahweh. Read on.
And keep his commandments.
And keep his what?
His commandments.
And keep his commandments, man. We got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. I pray you understand. Read on.
For this is the whole duty of man.
For this is the whole duty of every Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. We have to keep the commandments of the Most High. We have to do that. Because without these laws, statutes, and commandments, we're going to continue to be cursed. We're going to continue to be at the bottom, man. We cannot continue that way.
Right.
It ain't working, and it never will.
Right.
I pray you understand. Read what you got in the car.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints.
Here is the patience of the saints. Who are the saints? The saints are the priests and prophets of the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, man. Read on.
Here are they that keep the commandments of God.
Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High. Those that keep the commandments of the Most High. Read on. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, this crushes Christianity again.
It does.
Can't keep the commandments, but the Lord is glorifying the saints that are doing what he said do.
Right.
And this is in the book of Revelation. This is, you know what I mean? This is the final words of the Lord. You know what I'm saying in the book?
The New Testament. What they say. The New Testament.
Exactly. You know, it's the New Testament. And it's just a finalization. Everything on putting the icing on the cake, letting you know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? In the end of times, you know what I mean? Just giving us the whole conclusion. And it's telling us right here, sir, you know, keep the commandments.
Right.
You know what I mean? Keep them.
Right. We have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. I pray you understand. But it's something else we got to do too. It says keep the commandments. Read on.
They that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
And the faith of our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Right. You got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and the faith of our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. There was a question that was asked to me a while ago. A brother asked about the love of God. I'm going to answer that right now. The problem is Christians claim to love God. They don't understand what love is. Nakar, give me 1 John 5 and 3. Ibah, give me 2 John 1 and 6. I'm going to show right now what the love of God is. You think you know what loving the Most High is, but you don't know what love is. And we're going to read what love is according to the Most High. You got what I asked for in the car?
God.
Read.
Read the book of 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God.
For this is the love of God, man. This right here is the love of the Most High. And we're going to find out what love is according to the Most High. Read.
God, that we keep his commandments.
That we what?
Keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments, man. This is the love of the Most High. That we keep his commandments. Read what you got, Ibad.
Oh God. This is the book of 2 John, chapter 1 and verse 6. And this is love.
And this is love. This right here is love according to the Most High. I'm going to reiterate. And this is love. Read on.
That we walk after his commandments.
That we what?
Walk after his commandments.
That we walk after his commandments. We read the precept in Deuteronomy 8:6 to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and to walk in his ways. To walk after his commandments is to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. To do all the 600 plus laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High commanded us to do. Read on.
This is the commandment that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in
That we heard from the beginning, man, when the Most High gave Adam the breath of life, man. When the Most High gave Adam that breath of life, giving him the truth, man, giving him the law. Moses giving the law from the Most High that we should walk after these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, from the beginning. These laws, statutes, and commandments are essential to us, man, as Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians.
Right.
We have to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments to walk in them. But that is the love of the Most High in Christ, man. And with that being said, this is the Wednesday night biblical law class. I'm Precinct Officer 1000 Yediah. Make sure y'all tune in to Black Watch every Monday. Tune in to Cross the Line Radio. Make sure to subscribe to, our YouTube channel, Street Talk, man. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the class off to Precinct Officer 500 in cars.
Sound crazy. Let's give Officer Yediah another hand. All right. We are the ISUPK, started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. At the 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Taj was a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, Malachi, chapter 3, 8 through 10. All right, Mayashara means 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the teacher priest fund. Free will offering for the priest, not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like. All right, upcoming holy convocation is the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, the 25th day of the 9th month by a space of 8 days. It will start on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, for 8 days. You can find this in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, 52, verses 52 to 61. You find this in the Apocrypha. All right, book that the white man took out. You find the 1611 Bible. All right, make sure Akim and Wafium to check the bulletin board in the hallway of the school. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, headband, and scarves. And just to give a reminder, Officer Malakia, he said to raise more publicity, more light on the schools when you're on your way to the school, if you're catching a bus or driving, walking. So whatever it be, just type in ISUPK, whatever school you're going to, and just have Google Maps, or whatever app you're using to navigate with you as you're catching a bus, walking, driving. Bring more light to the school. That's it. With that being said, Akim Amajim. Khan. All right. Start it off.
Yeah, I'll do it.
We'll follow up with those who turn to face the east with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abinah.
Abinah.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Shabbat Shemayah. Kodash.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Shabka.
Shabka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Balakaka.
Balakaka.
Aba'ah.
Daba'ah.
Rakazayaka.
Rakazayaka.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Barakaza.
Barakaza.
Kawal.
Kawal.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Hashemayah.
Yashamayah.
Matanano.
Nathaniel.
Come.
Become.
Ka.
Ka.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalakana.
Wasalakano.
Kabawakna.
Kasalakano.
Kasalakno.
Kasalakno.
Kabawakino.
Kawafyano.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Wabi'ayno.
Tayayano.
Wanisayawam.
Wasawam.
Abba.
Above.
Awashayno.
Ashayano.
Ayun.
Mayan.
Right.
Ra.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Lakah.
Lakah.
Amalakwa.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Allah.
Wala'ah.
Lapapara.
William.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen. All right, this is the Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our
Give
daily
us-
bread,
This day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debt,
as we forgive our debts,
and forgive our
as
debtors,
we forgive our debtors,
and lead us not
and lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
but deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Sir, needs a turn. All right, men of Israel, we're going to give one quick courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadra Shabbat, Amadra, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatuh. Yajim Matah means hands down. All right, sir, we're going to face the sisters. All right, men of Israel, we're going to give one quick courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadra Shabbat, Amadra, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Yajim Matah, class dismissed.